Time to go back to the basics. I'm Christina, a Pinkbike video presenter and also a bike industry member for 11 years. Now, over that time, I have dabbled into nearly every avenue of the sport. You might even say I'm a Jill of all trades, but master of none. You see, I skipped a few key steps along the way, and I've never dug too deep into any particular path within mountain biking. In this 4-part series, we're going to be addressing some of the fundamental elements in mountain biking that allow me to be more confident and include some tips and tricks off the bike too. Thanks to our friends at Mountain Biking BC, I'm going to be traveling to 8 of the most iconic bike parks and riding destinations here in British Columbia so that I get to ride with some of the most talented and influential women in our sport as they help me go back to the basics. In episode 1, I learned about conquering my nerves in the start gate and on the trails from Claire Bouchard at Whistler Bike Park. From there, I could be a more confident and knowledgeable subject in the photography and video fields as I learned from Haley Elise at Sun Peaks. Now that my head is on a bit straighter and calmer, it's time to kick it up and have some fun. Today, I'm headed to Silver Star Bike Park, which is located just outside of Vernon, BC. This place has it all, from beautiful alpine single track to fast, flowy trails and huge jump lines. Everyone's gonna be stoked here. Now, as I've seen, when you do anything long enough, the excitement can wear off just a bit. Now, don't get me wrong, I love biking, but there are days when I'm just not that jazzed to pack up the bike again, rush through overcrowded airports, or honestly, just race in the torrential rain. To bring things back to the basics and to find the fun in biking again, I want to tap into the mind of a kid. Our next guest is Tayte Proulx-Royds, who's a 14-year-old biker here at Silver Star Bike Park. She shreds everything. I mean, she even races cross-country skiing all the way to cross-country biking, downhill to enduro, and you'd be surprised. She does it all with a huge smile on her face. All right, Tayte, what is fun for you? Like, what do the kids even find fun these days?
Mountain biking is just fun in general, but I think laughing with friends and having fun on the trail, and I love riding with my brother and family. Just being out here is super sick. It's a bike park. It's fun.
For someone, my age, twice as old as you, or even older, what do you kind of want those folks or an older version of yourself to remember about mountain biking?
I think it's super important to get out there and remember you had so much good times on your bike. Just sitting inside all the time in your older age doesn't necessarily mean you're done riding. You can keep riding and you can keep cruising my dad's out there. It's just a really good escape, just seeing nature and being in it, just being fully committed to the bike and hitting the jumps and just having fun. I just think it's a nice way to relax.
That's a good way to put that, the relaxation in biking. Even though we're gonna go out there and get extreme and hit some jumps, biking can really take you to some cool places. Just remind you to just chill out after that big day at work or a big day on the books at school. Leave the stress at the desk for crying out loud.
When you're at a certain level, you might get bored. I'm progressing still, and I think I can always find new ways to hit the same trails.
Even I can still find a lot of fun and good accomplished feelings when I'm progressing on the bike or maybe I'm finally hitting that section of trail I've ridden my whole life, but just a little bit faster. Do you have any tips for me per se that I can put into my own riding to just make it a little more exciting?
Having fun with it and not being concerned about going fast, cruising with your friends and having fun.
Good pro tip there. I always find some of my best riding comes out when I'm just in a party train with the homies and seeing what lines they're riding, because chances are it's something totally different than what I'm used to riding. With all of the social media and the huge bit of competition here in just BC and around the world, how do you manage that to focus on you and yourself?
Obviously, seeing other people doing bigger things on social media is hard to take sometimes, especially if you find that you're probably at the same level. Figuring everything out and then just becoming a mountain biker that you want to be and not changing anything for anyone else.
just riding for yourself. It's so important to remember to not compare yourself to others around you. Really hone in on focusing on you and comparing yourself to yourself. As a 13-year-old, where do you hope to see the sport go in the next, 5, 10, 15 years? You've got a huge career ahead of you.
For myself, I really want to make it to Junior World Cup, and then obviously I really want to go into Elite World Cup. For everyone else, I really hope more girls get into mountain biking, and then just more young people coming up riding and just figuring their way through the sport, becoming the mountain biker that you want to be.
Huge thanks to Tayte for reminding me that being a better biker is really just about having some fun on the bike and remembering why we ride anyways. I'm gonna definitely keep these lessons in mind as we hit the open road for the next stop of this BC Bike Park Tour. I'm taking a break from the interior of BC and heading back west, all the way west to Vancouver Island to visit Mount Washington Bike Park, and they just opened. Perched way above the seafloor below, the views at nearly 1,600 meters of elevation are insanely gorgeous. It has a really relaxed and local feel at this bike park, which is really quite welcoming midsummer here in BC. We've come all the way here to sample some fast DH trails and meet our next guest, Georgia Astle. She's one of those free racers, lover of all the bikes and a good free ride hit, but she can go insanely fast on any race bike you put under her, which is why I want to know from Georgia how to go full gas. Tayte taught me a lot about finding the fun in biking again, and I'm actually wondering if that's going to translate to going fast. Only one way to find out. Well, G, a big part of this road trip is being able to go around, meet some of the best in the business so that I can hopefully learn to become a better, well-rounded rider. Now, you and I have been going head-to-head in those beer league races for a number of years, and it is impressive to see how fast you've become. So to help me gain a couple of seconds in my next race run, what can you teach me today about going fast AF?
Well, Christina, I can't give you all my racing tips or I will be left in the dust in the beer league. To keep it digestible, my favorite tips are learning to look ahead, a strong body positioning on the bike, and when to apply pressure on the bike. Getting fast doesn't happen in just one session. A lot of repetition of a few key things goes a long way though.
I like that because it's also a good reminder that nobody ever tops out in mountain biking on their skills. Even if you get older and you're getting faster and you're getting more acclimated to the actual trail riding, you're still learning to process at a quicker pace.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
it's always building.
So as you get used to riding at a higher pace and a faster speed, your brain will also start processing that at a higher speed. So thus, looking ahead becomes like at a different rate ahead of the trail as you get faster. It's pretty amazing how quickly you can adapt and learn.
Cat-like reflexes. When you say it like that, it sounds so easy. How far ahead are you looking?
Typically, it would be a few bike lengths ahead, as long as you're not stuck just looking directly at your front wheel. So then that ties into your body positioning. Learning to anticipate what's coming up on the trail, so you're ready for what's coming up, you don't get caught off guard.
What can you tell us in comparison from, say, the flowy, bermy, jumpy trails that we all know and love to something that you're very good at, which is the steep, gnarly downhill stuff.
Once you've mastered the neutral position, being over your front wheel, having a hinge at your hips, little bend in your knees and elbows up, which is also just being confident over the front wheel. Heels down means that you're able to pump through stuff, and there's no way you could ride without your heels down. We take that to a steeper, more technical trail, so instead of getting thrown off the back, we want to stay with that neutral body position, stay with a strong, aggressive stance. Keeping weight over our front wheel is a big one. The natural instinct is to kind of hang off the back. All of a sudden you have no more pressure, not a good time.
Huge common misconception within mountain biking is just to lean back a little bit, put your bum over the rear wheel when you're going down something steep.
Having that confident body positioning just results in us being able to move our bike around.
And don't worry, I'm not just telling you guys this, I'm telling this to myself as well.
Kind of goes hand in hand with when we're applying what kind of pressure to our bike. So that includes pumping, that includes heels down, applying pressure. That helps me weight, that helps me unweight my bike, and pressure on our bars. Brake pressure and learning how to brake efficiently, which translates into more exit speed.
I think that'll be nice to see what sort of difference it makes.
So Tina, here we are at a fabulous section that we can just throw these three things together. So there's a high speed straight, unweight over the roots in the middle there, and then we'll set up for another line high left, so braking early again so we can have nice exit speed out of it. So here we have a berm, and we are going to try and generate as much speed as we can using this berm. We just have to be looking ahead to visualize what our line's going to be through it. We have a really strong body position, pressure over the front wheel. Upper hand has pressure in your grip, elbow above wrist, and pushing onto the front wheel. And a nice exit without our brakes on.
I mean, I've ridden bikes, I kind of know my way around a bike, but you see a lot of times just kind of going towards that back wheel again.
Since we have a bit of a bank that we're working with, that means that you can use that and push against it. There is a lot of G-force coming around the corner, so instead of being off to one side, we're trying to stay like perpendicular, and it just becomes second nature. It's better to have your weight over the center of your bike instead of hanging off the back. Learning how to decelerate, it definitely helps with the whole part of riding a trail fast, smooth.
Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. That's what I always tell myself.
Maybe a little too much sometimes, but
well, it seems to be working out better for you.
Well, I don't know. I feel like we're one and one.
Doubt it.
Eyes up, elbows up, heels down. So you can repeat that as you're on your bike, and otherwise it just becomes too much to remember. It's impossible. So those are the three things.
Just those three things.
Yeah, just that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, that's it for episode 2 of Back to the Basics. And I can't believe we're halfway through this road trip already. And I've already shown you 4 BC bike parks, which means 4 more to go. None of that would have been possible without conquering some nerves that I was experiencing in episode 1. Stay tuned for the next few videos where I head into a judgment-free zone, where I get to explore my style on the bike and on different trails. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to subscribe to the channel to see which 4 BC bike parks we get to hit up next and who else we get to introduce you to.